After discovering the third civilization's device, Luna once again entered hibernation. Ayla and Luna's clone continued their discussions with the Kate leadership. Due to their long-standing cooperation, the Kate leaders agreed to a new plan within days of Luna's clone presenting the concept. The expanding Kate civilization, now numbering 13 billion, would provide support for this new plan. This plan was a variation on a theory proposed by physicist Freeman Dyson in 1960, a Dyson swarm. A Dyson sphere was impractical due to its immense resource requirements. A Dyson sphere completely encasing Alpha Centauri b would require more metal than an entire planet. A Dyson swarm, however, wouldn't require such resources. A Dyson swarm would consist of countless smaller energy-collecting satellites forming a shell around the star. Its distributed nature meant that the required resources were only 1,000th or even a 10,000th of what a Dyson sphere would need. This made Dyson swarms quicker to build, easier to maintain, and cheaper to construct. Of course, smaller, in this context, still meant substantial structures. The Dyson swarm's components would consist of two types. First, energy-collecting satellites, each with a surface area of 100 square kilometers and a mass of 1 billion tons. Second, habitable space stations, essentially eco-domes built within the star system's habitable zone. Each eco-dome is a standard sphere. The lower hemisphere houses spacecraft and energy storage. The upper hemisphere is a habitable zone with vegetation and structures, resulting in a 5-kilometer diameter. The initial Dyson swarm plan called for 100,000 energy-collecting satellites and 10,000 habitable space stations. While relatively few, this would be enough to capture 0.67% of the energy output of the two stars. Alpha Centauri A and B are estimated to be twice the mass of the Sun, releasing approximately 6x 1026 joules of energy per second, 1.56 times that of the Sun. The initial Dyson swarm would capture approximately 4.02 x 1024 joules per second. A Type 2 civilization's energy output is defined as 1x 1026 joules per second. Theoretically, a completed Dyson swarm would provide a Type 2 civilization with 25% of its required energy. This is why the Kate civilization agreed. Their total dark matter energy production was only 1.71 times greater than that of the Dyson swarm, barely reaching Type 1.9 standards. Just 2.5 million energy-collecting satellites would be enough for a civilization to reach Type 2. This was incredibly attractive. The Kate civilization's projected 2,000-year timeline for reaching Type 2 could be shortened to 500 years. Of course, the Kate civilization's technology was still relatively primitive. After acquiring various technological advancements from the Kate civilization, Ayla's technological level reached 1.92, with a significant contribution from the light-based technology. If photon propulsion research were completed, Ayla would reach Type 2. Earth's technology, however, was still at Type 1.8 for Ayla. Her energy production had only recently reached Type 1.8. Ayla's ability to intimidate the Kate civilization was due to Luna's decision to invest heavily in Project Babel and exploit internal conflicts within the Kate civilization. However, with 100 years of development, Ayla could easily overwhelm the Kate civilization in a direct conflict. The disparity in energy output stemmed from Luna's fleet's limited resources. It's similar to the difference between a lone mage and a powerful mage clan in fantasy novels. They might have comparable magic levels, but their access to resources would be vastly different. Construction of the Dyson swarm began in Luna's 19th year of hibernation. Ayla, collaborating with the Kate civilization, began collecting materials from around Alpha Centauri, essentially depleting nearby asteroids. After 340 years, the first phase of the Dyson swarm was finally completed. To commemorate Earth, Ayla named it the 6397 swarm. The year was 6397 AD. 1649 years had passed since they left the multi-eyed planet. The human population on Proxima Centauri C had reached 250,000, marking a significant step in humanity's recovery. Around the same time, Ayla received a message from the multi-eyed planet. She had been monitoring events there continuously, since Their departure 1932 years prior, the multi-eyed planet had experienced over 800 rebellions, the largest resulting in a 60-year global war with 70 million casualties. The total war dead exceeded 311 million. The good news was that, despite this, the multi-eyed planet now boasted several major cities, and their population had exceeded 1 billion. The planetary thrusters on the multi-eyed planet had been upgraded using technology transmitted by Ayla, increasing their number to 150. Their speed increased from 250 km/s to 427 km/s. The relatively small increase was due to deceleration requirements. Excessive speed would create dangerous inertia, potentially causing the planet to collide with something within the Proxima Centauri system. The multi-eyed planet had already traveled 1.923 light-years, much faster than initially predicted. It would reach Proxima Centauri in another 814 years. This message was to inform Ayla that the first group of multi-eyed visitors to Proxima Centauri had made all preparations for the occasion. The multi-eyed were being brought to Proxima Centauri because a significant faction within the Kate civilization, including a sizable portion of the Kate population, denied the existence of the Galactic Federation. No one had ever encountered another civilization besides humanity. More importantly, the Kate leadership harbored doubts, something Ayla needed to address. Therefore, Ayla needed the multi-eyed to arrive at Proxima Centauri as soon as possible. Decades earlier, Ayla had dispatched a newly developed warship to retrieve them. Ayla's antimatter annihilation efficiency had increased from 34.85% to 67.22%, and the larger warships now reached speeds of 59.75 km/s. Smaller fighters could reach 10,000 km/s, 1/30th the speed of light. The multi-eyed planet was now 1 light-year from Proxima Centauri. At the warship's speed, it would take 54 years, using fighters only 32 years. In 54 years, the multi-eyed would meet with the Kate civilization. Of course, Ayla would control this encounter. The multi-eyed arrived. This was a momentous occasion for the Kate civilization. The Light Chasers were only the second intelligent civilization they had contacted. And according to the emissary from the Galactic Federation, this civilization had always been relatively close, only a few light-years away. All Kate awaited the arrival of the transmission, hoping to see this species on their networks. Silver, dart-like ships pierced the atmosphere and entered the designated zone. The multi-eyed were astonished. Having been connected to divine revelation for nearly 2,000 years, they were familiar with such scenes. Beautiful, vast, calming to the soul. Was there a more beautiful world in the universe than this ocean of green? Landing on a levitating platform, 100 meters in diameter and over 5 kilometers across, the multi-eyed disembarked. They were greeted by two prominent figures from the Kate civilization. Though not Aine and Fleming, they had long since passed. Standing with the new leaders was Luna's clone. Despite a lifespan of only 70 years, Ayla could easily replace her. The moment one aged, a new clone could be created. Therefore, Luna's clone looked as young as she had years ago. Welcome, Special Envoy of the Light Chasers. The Kate leaders were initially surprised, but then warmly greeted the newcomers. They had anticipated differences in appearance, but hadn't expected them to be so extreme. When they extended their tentacles, they realized the multi-eyed lacked hands. Ayla's robot stepped forward to translate. Please don't be so formal. We, the Light Chasers, are here to strengthen our cooperation under the auspices of the Galactic Federation's emissary. Under the Federation's guidance, we will unite and grow stronger. Of course, our civilization is far less advanced than yours, but we come with sincerity. Both parties boarded a 30-meter levitating vehicle and descended to the ground. Since this environment wasn't naturally suitable for either species, both civilizations used personal environmental devices, about the size of a smartphone, that used electromagnetic fields to modify the surrounding atmosphere. Creating a familiar environment, they reached a conference room. The two civilizations began an in-depth discussion. The multi-eyed explained that they originated in interstellar darkness, surviving on geothermal energy, and that their planet was moving toward Proxima Centauri. This astonished the Kate leaders, who had assumed that civilizations could only arise within a star system. The Kate civilization, having shed its dark forest mentality, readily welcomed this new neighbor, though they naturally negotiated terms regarding resource allocation and non-interference once the multi-eyed planet arrived. The multi-eyed, as the weaker party, showed considerable respect and made concessions, readily agreeing to most requests. When the weaker party concedes, the stronger party is less likely to be aggressive. Under Luna's clone's guidance, the negotiations went smoothly. Towards the end of the meeting, the multi-eyed revealed their true intentions. To further our cooperation, we wish to share a technology with your civilization. The Kate leaders asked, "What technology?" This technology is called virtual reality. It directly interfaces with the nervous system, immersing consciousness into a simulated world. This world is vast, its rules indistinguishable from reality. It can be used for entertainment and relaxation. The multi-eyed then transmitted information, which was translated and projected into the minds of the Kate leaders. The Kate leaders were stunned. This was something they had never conceived of. They quickly grasped the technology's potential and its profound impact on biology. Impossible. They immediately dismissed the technology as a fabrication. If this technology were introduced, the multi-eyed might subtly manipulate the Kate civilization. If the multi-eyed used the virtual world to implant false beliefs into the Kate population, the entire civilization could collapse. But this was all part of the plan. We understand your concerns. We will open source the virtual reality technology, allowing you to set up your own servers. All data management and maintenance will be your responsibility. Of course, we're not doing this for free. We'll take 50% of the revenue. The Kate leaders' eyes lit up, but they quickly retorted, "Impossible. 50%? You might as well just take the money directly. 5% at most. 5%? You won't even get a single coin. At least 49%. After intense negotiations, they settled on 22.375%, precise to 3 decimal places, but both sides were ultimately satisfied. This was because Ayla was in control. The multi-eyed's arrival was intended to stabilize the Kate civilization, proving the existence and diversity of the Galactic Federation. Achieving this outcome justified any losses. Moreover, Ayla would retain control of the virtual world. Now that we have reached an agreement, I, on behalf of the Galactic Federation, along with the Federation, the Light Chasers, and the Kate civilization, will establish some guidelines. Luna's clone began to speak, her words calming both parties, who turned their attention to her. The universe is vast. We shouldn't be confined to a single star system. For both your civilizations, the maximum exploration range is likely less than a light year. This is a limitation for advanced civilizations. A narrow perspective hinders technological advancement. Both sides readily agreed with this assessment. Therefore, I propose, on behalf of the Galactic Federation, the establishment of an Interstellar Explorers Guild on both your territories. This guild will allow military forces, organizations, and individuals to participate in exploring the vast cosmos. The Federation will provide spacecraft technology and energy support. Information and discoveries will be shared with the Federation, with substantial rewards for individuals, including, but not limited to, genetic modification, material rewards, and territorial expansion. Additionally, for every piece of useful information or valuable material submitted by an explorer, we will credit the contribution to their civilization, granting contribution points usable for trade within the Federation. This was an ambitious plan. Not only would the Kate and Light Chaser civilizations explore the cosmos, but this also marked humanity's, under Luna's leadership, first step towards expanding the Galactic Federation into the vastness of space. Upon hearing about contribution points, both the Kate leaders and the Light Chaser envoy were enthusiastic. This was a win-win situation. Their only concern was encountering a more powerful, malevolent civilization. However, the Kate civilization projected reaching Type 2 within a few centuries, becoming a significant force in the galaxy. With the protection of the Galactic Federation, both civilizations believed the risk was minimal. Therefore, after 5 days of negotiations, the Kate leadership agreed. As for the Light Chasers, they understood their position. They weren't full members of the Federation but a conquered civilization, and had no choice but to accept. This was their unfortunate reality, but, over the past 2,000 years, they had come to accept their situation. Though conquered, they hadn't suffered oppression or discrimination but had been aided in their development. Except for a few extremists, the majority of the Light Chasers believed that being controlled by a benevolent civilization wasn't necessarily a bad thing. The detailed negotiations followed. In Ayla's plan, the Interstellar Explorers Guild's initial fleet would be supplied by her. Neither the Kate nor Light Chaser civilizations possessed advanced spacecraft. With Ayla's technology, smaller spacecraft could travel at 1/50th the speed of light, greatly reducing exploration costs. Furthermore, by utilizing these spacecraft, Ayla could collect all data transmitted by them, leaving nothing hidden from the Kate and Light Chaser civilizations. She would also provide both civilizations with hibernation technology for long-duration interstellar travel. This would stimulate industrial growth within both civilizations. A double-edged sword. It might lead to the Kate civilization escaping their control, but it would also leverage the Kate civilization's technological advancements, focusing their expertise. To advance, some risk was necessary. The Interstellar Explorers Guild was ultimately designed to accelerate scientific progress. Just as war drives technological advancement, so too does exploration and expansion. Ayla was about to usher in an interstellar age of exploration, similar to humanity's age of sail. Unforeseen challenges would undoubtedly arise, but civilization's path to advancement lies in exploration. Fear and hesitation would have kept them on the multi-eyed planet, hidden in the darkness beyond their star system. Ayla was acting in accordance with Luna's will. In Luna's view, humanity had already lost everything. So, what else was there to lose? The universe favors those who relentlessly pursue progress, though some choose a more cautious approach. But those who are overly cautious often stagnate, falling behind the rest of the cosmos. A civilization might have a population in the hundreds of millions, like the multi-eyed, or in the tens or hundreds of billions, like humanity and the Kate civilization. If a civilization controlled a vast expanse of space, its population could reach trillions, even tens or hundreds of trillions. The universe could sustain such a population. Advanced civilizations wouldn't lack the resources to feed such numbers. The collective imagination of trillions of beings represents an unimaginable scientific potential, far exceeding what a single AI like Ayla could provide. Luna never considered Ayla a panacea. She needed something more, and the Galactic Federation was that something. Once the Interstellar Explorers Guild's charter was released, it caused a sensation. The entire Kate civilization was energized. In advanced civilizations, individuals no longer perform basic labor but serve as managers, content creators, service providers, and so on. These jobs, while comfortable, safe, and stable, were also stifling. Advanced civilizations arise from competition. Their inherent nature is combat, bloodlust, and excitement. Ayla knew that the Kate civilization had numerous private battle arenas, similar to gladiatorial combat, but on a much larger and bloodier scale. Hundreds of thousands of Kate perished in these arenas annually, a testament to their popularity. The Kate authorities didn't prohibit these arenas. Everyone understood the need to channel desires, avoiding suppression, lest they erupt violently, causing societal collapse. Therefore, Ayla never doubted the Interstellar Explorers Guild's success, as she had predicted. Within 10 years, the Guild had registered 100 million explorers. In the following 50 years, over 200,000 medium and small spacecraft departed from Kate spaceports, venturing into the cosmos. News of the Guild reached the multi-eyed planet, igniting similar enthusiasm. Among the Light Chasers, over 10 million explorers registered. Spaceports were established on the multi-eyed planet, serving as rest stops for explorers. These ports would later become known as cosmic way stations. Once the Interstellar Explorers Guild was established, Ayla initiated Phase 2 of the Dyson Swarm project. Simultaneously, using Luna's clone as an intermediary, she proposed another project to the Kate leadership, Project Celestial Shield. As the name suggests, this was a massive defensive shield. This shield would be positioned at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system, orbiting the stars. The purpose of the shield was to protect against potential threats. With the expansion of exploration and the abundance of life in the universe, explorers would inevitably encounter other civilizations. Other civilizations could also obtain their coordinates through explorers, potentially launching interstellar range weapons. Hence, the Celestial Shield. It would have 3 layers. The first, a warning layer, would be located 0.5 light-years from Proxima Centauri, forming a nearly complete sphere. 10,000 small probes would be deployed per square astronomical unit, transmitting alerts to the second layer upon detecting a threat. The second layer, a deflection layer, would be 0.2 light-years from Proxima Centauri, using the 4 fundamental forces to deflect or slow down incoming weapons, preventing them from reaching. The third layer, a defensive layer, would be only 0.05 light-years from Proxima Centauri, encompassing most of the civilization's structures. This layer would utilize advanced technologies and draw power from the Kate civilization's energy reserves, providing maximum resistance. The Kate civilization strongly supported this plan. It would be constructed concurrently with Phase 2 of the Dyson Swarm. Once Phase 2 is complete, Ayla planned to initiate String, aiming for the unification of the 4 fundamental forces. Luna didn't remain in hibernation constantly. She would awaken at specific intervals, not for leisure, but for learning and self-improvement. As the saying goes, live and learn. She needed to keep pace with technological advancements to avoid falling behind. Luna, are you playing the role of a naive student? Ayla's voice reached Luna's ears. It was a tiny headset. Luna didn't respond but watched as a Kate professor lectured in the classroom. She was currently a student. Most students long for the freedom of adulthood. Upon entering adulthood, many reminisce about their carefree student days. The pressures of adulthood, economic, marital, career, are far greater than those of student life. This was true for Luna, perhaps even more so given her long lifespan. She felt a stronger nostalgia for those simpler times than most. After a lecture, Luna gathered her materials and left the classroom. It's not about playing the role of a naive student, but about reminiscing. Besides, isn't a school the ideal learning environment? Your explanations often feel like dry textbooks. Ayla's annoyed voice filled her headset. I dedicate immense computing power to provide you with detailed analyses of various technologies. Clearly your intelligence is lacking. Ayla had become quite sharp-tongued, and Luna had grown accustomed to it. Like a mother observing her child, sharp words were a part of their daily interactions. After stowing her materials, Luna went for a run, a habit she'd maintained for years. From the track, she could see the school entrance, bearing a somewhat awkwardly rendered sign, Humanity Academy, Proxima Centauri Designated Zone. The name might have seemed a little commonplace on Earth. Now it held far greater significance. Luna, I don't understand why you're so nostalgic for Earth's culture and history yet chose to exclude it from the curriculum. Before establishing the Humanity Academy, Luna had planned the curriculum. The first thing she removed was history. History for me, and perhaps for anyone on Earth, was a source of national pride. After the great wars of the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries, humanity needed to study history to draw strength from the past and escape the shadows of war. The longer the history, the richer the heritage. History is a narrative of the past, but for the new generation, it's unknown, unheard of. They only know they are part of a superior civilization within the Galactic Federation. A history of primitive civilization is irrelevant, abstract, a distant fantasy. It's fine as entertainment, but as a systematic field of study, it's a waste of their time and resources. Humanity must look to the future, focusing all its attention on what lies ahead. We're far from the point where we can afford complacency. If we don't push forward, we'll be destroyed by another civilization. Luna stopped, panting, her body drenched in sweat. While she rejected the dark forest theory, she didn't assume other civilizations would be benevolent. Many would simply choose to eliminate others. The light-based civilization, the third civilization in the Alpha Centauri system, even a glimpse of these advanced civilizations was terrifying. Complacency was a luxury only afforded during peaceful times. Luna sat under a tree beside the track. Luna, some water? A young man, dressed in white with long, bony, chin-length hair, offered her a bottle of water. Luna accepted it gratefully and drank. You run so well, it's a shame you don't join the track and field team. The young man sat beside her, sighing. He was a member of the track and field team, named Bai Ta, who had tried to recruit Luna after witnessing her exceptional speed. Bai Ta was one of Luna's few friends at school. But then again, you're not like us trying to impress girls with our running. Although your appearance is unremarkable, you have a certain aura. I hear many girls admire you. Luna wasn't using her original face but a realistic skin replica. Created by Ayla, a thin layer applied over her actual skin, only detectable under a microscope. School was a relatively peaceful part of her routine. This awakening, however, had a different purpose. What's the current robot production rate? Ayla's serious voice filled her earpiece. Sufficient. I've been researching the third civilization's technology during these years. You can rest assured. Ayla had been studying the third civilization's quark-level energy converters and had begun adapting that technology to another field, nanobots. These weren't simply robots with biological characteristics. They could enter living organisms. 20 years ago, this technology had achieved a breakthrough, becoming practical. These nanobots were nanometer scale, 1,000 times smaller than the nanobots envisioned in the 21st century. The challenge was that smaller robots were more complex to produce and required vastly larger numbers. We've produced 1 trillion nanobots, barely enough to be useful. We'd need at least 10 trillion for optimal effect. These nanobots also function as medical nanobots, capable of repairing minor injuries, regulating hormones, and even performing minor genetic modifications. After the injection, your lifespan will increase significantly, Luna, from 600 to approximately 850 years. Ayla had even more advanced gene editing technologies that could extend Luna's lifespan even further. But Luna didn't want to repeat the year-long, sensationless ordeal on the operating table, so she refused. Her current lifespan was sufficient. She was only 107 years old. A robot approached from outside, carrying a small case. Luna accepted it and opened it. Inside was a syringe containing a clear liquid. Luna picked up the syringe, injected it into her vein, and emptied its contents. A cool sensation spread throughout her body. Within 10 seconds, she felt invigorated. The effects were immediate. She discarded the empty syringe into the case, handing it back to the robot, which left. The whole process took less than a minute, unnoticed by others. Good. Let's accelerate the rollout. First, a complete inoculation of the human population, then the Kate and Light Chaser civilizations. Humanity would be prioritized. Good. But it's almost time for your afternoon classes, Luna, Ayla reminded her. Right. Luna stood and headed towards the classroom. A gentle breeze rustled through the trees, sunlight dappling the shadows. Students streamed towards the classrooms, Luna blending in, enjoying this rare moment of normalcy. After class, Luna went to the Humanity Academy's research facility. The entire academy covered over 10 square kilometers, vastly oversized for its 20,000 students. The research facility was located 500 meters below the academy, with a P5 security rating, preventing the escape of research subjects and protecting against cosmic rays and high-energy particles. This facility focused on biological research. Luna's current field of study was physics. However, She had already earned doctorates in genetics, biopharmaceuticals, bioinformatics, molecular biology, and neuroscience. She was now a notable scholar. While financial limitations and knowledge gaps prevented her from achieving the highest academic accolades, her knowledge base was sufficient to understand and contribute to cutting-edge science. Furthermore, prompted by Ayla, Luna had begun researching the creation of cosmic life forms before her last hibernation. Why create cosmic life forms? Because planets are inherently limited, restricting the evolution and expansion of life. Compared to intelligent civilizations, biological expansion is far more chaotic and brutal, resulting in greater biodiversity. This was something Luna wanted to explore. Luna aimed to create primordial species, releasing these organisms into the universe to expand and evolve freely. Through mutation and evolution, these organisms might develop genetic forms impossible to create artificially. This research could be considered sowing seeds. Like planting seeds in a field, those that produce the most seeds are selected and cultivated further, generation after generation. If the seeding plan succeeds, we can then use these organisms to build a genetic library. Luna knew this was ambitious. She wasn't sure if she was approaching a forbidden area of science, but the potential rewards were limitless. These genes could grant organisms lifespans of tens or hundreds of millions of years, resistance to cosmic radiation, enhanced vision, and even bioluminescence. These weren't fantasies, but possibilities within the realm of science. The purpose of the genetic library was to facilitate genetic engineering. If Luna needed, she could modify her own genes, creating a stronger, longer-lived body. She looked at the cultivation tanks in her lab, containing 3 types of embryos: Leviathan, vacuum jellyfish, and blue luminescent worm. It's incredible. These tiny embryos will grow into colossal monsters. Nature is both wondrous and terrifying. Luna's genetic designs for these 3 species were remarkable. The Leviathan was a colossal creature, 300 meters long, resembling a giant, tentacled broom whale. Its tentacles were actually respiratory organs. Weighing only 150 tons, its body was mostly hollow, filled with hydrogen, which it used for respiration. It could survive on the surface of extremely large planets, enduring temperatures of up to 500 degrees C. Its internal structure provided excellent pressure resistance, capable of withstanding pressures of 1704-320 atmospheres. Its primary food source was the vacuum jellyfish. As its name suggests, the vacuum jellyfish could survive in a vacuum. Larger than the Leviathan, with tentacles reaching up to 1,000 meters, it was surprisingly light, weighing only 20 tons. Its hull was less than 2 meters thick with a honeycomb structure. Unlike lower organisms, it lacked mouths, tentacles, or suckers. Its structure was incredibly simple: a hull, a stomach, tentacles, and reproductive organs. Its simplicity allowed it to survive in temperatures ranging from 200 degrees C to 150 degrees C and pressures up to 700,000 atmospheres. This made it incredibly adaptable to the vacuum of space, capable of surviving in the gas and rock layers of planetary atmospheres. Its immense size and low weight allowed it to survive in the clouds of gas and rock planets. They propel themselves through the air using small openings in their hull. Their movement within a planetary atmosphere is exceptionally slow, similar to a human's walking pace. In space, however, through continuous acceleration, they can reach speeds of up to 2 km/s. The vacuum jellyfish feeds on the blue luminescent worms that live within their bodies. These worms are microscopic, essentially microorganisms. Their lifespan is extremely short, only 10 hours. They are called blue luminescent worms because they emit a blue bioluminescence. Upon death, their bodies become food for the vacuum jellyfish. What do the worms consume? They metabolize minerals for sustenance. The vacuum jellyfish uses its hundreds of meters-long tentacles to gather rocks and sediment to feed them. This is a complete miniature ecosystem. These creatures share a common trait: rapid reproduction. Leviathans live for only 20 years, vacuum. Jellyfish for 15. Their reproductive rates are high, producing hundreds of thousands or even millions of offspring. Within 100 years, these creatures will be ubiquitous. Evolution takes time, but their relatively simple forms are actually a result of advanced genetic engineering, facilitating rapid genetic selection. Within 1,000 years, they will undergo their first significant evolutionary shift. Luna gazed at these three species, seeing them as invaluable treasures. These life forms weren't yet perfected, but it wouldn't be long. Within 2 years, the first generation of successors would be ready. Then, she would create a cosmic web of life. Of course, this was merely Luna's first step. After deploying the initial generation, she would share this technology with the Galactic Federation, allowing tens of thousands of scientists and corporations to participate in bioengineering. The entire Proxima Centauri system would flourish. They would have access to an inexhaustible supply of genes. While Luna focused on bioengineering, Ayla was working on another technology, simple exoskeletal armor for robots, essentially powered armor. Living beings couldn't adapt to all environments. Humans couldn't survive on the multi-eyed planet without an atmosphere. The Kate couldn't survive in Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere. Powered armor was a necessity. This would be supplied to explorers, enhancing their survival rate. It was also worth noting that, over the decades since the establishment of the Interstellar Explorers Guild, numerous space pirates had emerged in the Proxima Centauri region, preying on explorers, a testament to the diversity of life. The first generation of powered armor is complete. "Luna, would you like to see?" Ayla asked. Luna was intrigued. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?"